Section 11-5, Part 1. Justifying two triangles are similar using given angles. The question is triangle ABC similar to triangle DEF? Notice that these two triangles are lying the same way. They've named this triangle ABC, starting at the top, ABC. And then they've named this triangle DEF. It is also starting at the top, DEF. So we went ABC, DEF. These triangles are lying the same way. So in order for us to prove that these two triangles are similar, we need to know that two angles of this triangle are congruent to two angles of this triangle. Okay, so first of all, let's take this triangle. Let's see if we can find the measure of angle C. Now, I see that angle B is congruent to angle E because they're both 58. So I need to find another pair of corresponding angles that are congruent. So I have F, so now I'm going to find C. So I know that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C equals to 180 degrees. I know that all three angles of any triangle add up to 180. So measure of angle A is 77, the measure of angle B is 58. Plus the measure of angle C equals to 180. All right? So 77 plus 58 gives me 135, plus the measure of angle C equals to 180. So let's subtract 135 from both sides. When you subtract 135 from both sides, you get the measure of angle C equals to 45 degrees. Now, you could have just added these in your calculator, 77 plus 58, and got 135, and then subtract 180 minus 135, and you would have found C to be 45 degrees. You don't have to set up this equation. It's okay not to, all right? So now I know that angle 45 is equal to angle 45. So now I know that angle C is congruent to angle F. So I know that angle B is congruent to angle E, and I know that angle C is congruent to angle F. So since I know that two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then I know that these triangles are similar. So that's enough to say that these triangles are similar. Now, we could also find measure D. Another route we could have gone was to find measure D. So let's talk about that. How would we find measure D? Well, in this triangle, the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle E plus the measure of angle F is equal to 180. Well, we do not know the measure of angle D, but E is 58 and F is 45, okay? So if we treat this as an equation, these two are on the same side. We can combine these. So 58 plus 45 is 103. So we've got the measure of angle D plus 103 equals to 180. If you subtract 103 from both sides, you find the measure of angle D equal to 77. So we know that D is 77. We already knew that A was 77. So we could have proven that these two angles were congruent instead of proving that C and F were congruent. We could have gone that route as well. But as long as you know that two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then we know the triangles are similar. That's the key word, similar, this symbol right here. The two triangles are similar if you know that two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another.